Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the AFT News Reporting Network. No, that's actually not what I am, and I don't want to be that. I'm actually just a regular guy like most of you, sitting in my shop, and I love my guns, and I love to shoot my guns, but most importantly, I love my natural right that was endowed by my Creator to keep and bear arms. And I love the Second Amendment, which says, shall not be infringed. However, with the ATF, sometimes called the AFT, they're making news headlines daily. In fact, in this case, twice a day. I was just literally in the middle of making my video about the ATF redefining and banning polymer, and my friend Ron sent me a message with this new article, and it involves a Michigan man with allegations of Glock auto sears, full auto parts, Russia, and PayPal. So let's get into this and see what all of you think. And I'm also going to include both sides of the story, including some statements from his attorney that are supplied by the Detroit Free Press. So we're going to start off with the United States Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of Michigan. This is close to home for me and could be close to home for a lot of people who are wondering what the ATF is up to and what they're doing today. So this is their official press release. I'm going to go through that as well as some responses from his attorney. Clinton Township firearms dealer charged with illegally importing Glock conversion devices from Russia. It says for immediate release Tuesday, December 27th, 2022. Detroit. A Macomb County federally licensed firearms dealer was charged with an indictment with illegally importing Glock conversion devices from Russia and failing to keep proper records, United States Attorney Don N. Eisen announced today. Real quick, an indictment is a way of saying that he was formally charged, and I want to remind all of you, he is to be presumed innocent, and it is the burden of the government to convince a jury of his peers, a fair trial, beyond any and all reasonable doubt that he is guilty. So this is a charge, an indictment. He is to be presumed innocent, and that is protected by the Bill of Rights, as well as the right to keep and bear arms is protected by the Bill of Rights. But I'll continue. Eisen was joined in the announcement by Assistant Special Agent in Charge Craig Kilami, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, of Detroit Division of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. I just said ATF. Everyone, make sure your dogs are secure, and we're going to keep talking about what these agents are alleging. Chase Farmer, 23, of St. Clair Shores, illegally imported Glock conversion devices and drop-in auto sears using a Russian website from November 2020 to March 2021. Glock conversion devices and drop-in auto sears are used to convert standard firearms into machine guns that allow the firearms to fire multiple rounds at once, and thus are highly dangerous devices. I thought the definition of a machine gun in the NFA talked about, well, it's gone back and forth between function of a trigger, now they say it's pull of a trigger. In this article, it just says multiple rounds at once. Not sure what that means, but I'll continue. And thus are highly dangerous devices. Farmer, owner of the federally licensed firearm dealer, shall not be infringed, LLC, based in Clinton Township, was licensed to deal in firearms, but he was not licensed to import firearms, including these dangerous Glock conversion devices, into the United States. So it sounds like they're talking about parts, possibly conversion parts, and they're calling them firearms. Farmer attempted to hide his purchase from authorities, including by making the orders under an alias and falsifying the details of his PayPal payments to Russia. But ATF agents were able to detect the purchases and recover evidence of Farmer's crimes, which also included his failure to keep proper records as licensed firearms dealer. This case has been assigned to United States District Judge Gershwin A. Drain. The defendant could face up to 10 years in prison if convicted. Then it goes on to remind you of what I already said. I was a little bit ahead of him there. An indictment is only a formal charging document and not evidence of guilt. A defendant is entitled to a fair trial in which it will be the government's burden to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. This case was investigated by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. This case is being prosecuted by U.S. Attorney Diane Prink. I'm going to leave links to this as well as the Detroit Free Press article down in the description. Let's hear his attorney's side of the story. And this is an attorney that's somewhat local to me. I'm going to try to reach out to the alleged perpetrator's attorney and see if he has any more comments or wants to add anything to the story. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that, and I could do a follow-up video if I can get more information. So this article in the Detroit Free Press says, Farmer's lawyer, however, argues there were no crimes and that the government is overreaching. And this is a quote, "It is our position that there were no violations of the law at all," Attorney Jim Makowski said in a phone interview with the Free Press. According to Makowski, the Glock conversion parts cited in the indictment are merely parts, nothing more. He said the government is stretching the law and trying to assert that the parts are actually machine guns, when he alleges they are not. Here's another quote. "These parts did not require any special licensing because they themselves were not a machine gun. You couldn't take these parts and stick it in a gun and make it work," Makowski said, adding his client was, quote, "engaged in a lawful business of manufacturing machine guns and was licensed to do so." I would like clarification. That means that just by reading what this lawyer said, he may be an SOT, a special occupational taxpayer, and if so, there are ways that people can legally manufacture machine guns, even in this day and age. I'm interested to see if we can find out more about that. The article continues on. Quote, "Machine guns are legal to own under certain circumstances, and it's our position that he complied with the law," Makowski said of his client. The ATF is greatly expanding the definition of machine gun to come up with these charges. I would note, I'm thinking about the National Firearms Act, and they talk about these NFA items, these regulated items, and they give them definitions. Now, the definition is, "The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Marbury v. Madison, all laws repugnant to the Constitution are void." I think the whole NFA is unconstitutional. But even within that part, I remember what we call suppressors, which are referred to as silencers in the NFA. It says that any part of a silencer is a silencer. But I don't remember reading that in the definition of machine guns. Do you guys? Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a scholar. But I'm pretty sure the law doesn't state that any part of a machine gun is a machine gun. But they're alleging these are machine guns, from what I'm reading here, because they're parts of a machine gun. Let me know what you guys think about that and leave me some comments. It ends by saying Farmer, who lives in St. Clair Shores, is charged with illegally importing a firearm, possessing an unregistered machine gun, illegally transferring a machine gun, and failing to keep proper records. This is me concluding the article here by the Detroit Free Press. It also says he was released on a $10,000 bond Tuesday. His lawyer said his case will go to trial and that there is no plea deal on the table. If convicted, Farmer could face up to 10 years in prison. Tried to give you guys both sides of it from this breaking news. There's not a lot of information yet, except for this document from the United States Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Michigan. Check the description for links here. I just read that to you, as well as I read the second half of this Detroit Free Press article, giving the attorney's side of the story, and some of his remarks seem to certainly refute what the indictment is stating. All right, I'm trying to get some gun videos for you guys because I also love doing those. Maybe the ATF will give us a day or two without making headlines so that I can get back to that. Or maybe I'll be back on here with something like the pistol brace ban that could be happening any minute or second. So I'll be back on here regardless to hang out with you guys soon. All right, thanks for watching and have a good one. And make sure you check out the pinned comment for more information on my locals community. It's a censorship-free site where I do extra stuff, including live streams where I touch guns.